Hey everyone, Maurice here from Erickson Design and Woodworking. Hey, it's been a long time since I posted a video. It's been about 60 days, and that is way too long. I need to get back in the garage. I need to start experimenting with some stuff. And what's more perfect than trying to do a mini wavy flag experiment type of thing, see if my CNC can do it, and see if my laser machine can actually burn the stars in, and some trial and error. But what I wanted to do is try to make as many as I can. And so I had some 8/4 rough cut lumber. I had some maple, podoke, and a whole bunch of walnut. And so I started, just kind of mapping out what's the easiest way of trying to get as many flags as I can within the dimensions, and try to see just how small I can get it. And, the end result, I could probably get it a little bit smaller, and I'm probably going to try. But we'll walk through this together. Enjoy, and apologies again. It's been a crazy couple months, and it's been really good to get back in the garage and start working. So don't forget, check out a couple of my other videos. I made a couple different flags. I walked through, how to do the designing and the cut files, and kind of walk through Fusion 360 on how to actually do the contour and where to download the files. I'll have all those links in the description. And again, there's a lot of affiliate links in there as far as the tools that I use and all those different little things. Definitely check it out. Look in the video description. There's a lot of great information. What's added in there is really cool. So I went ahead and I started a Patreon account, and I'm going to play around with it. The link is in the description. Check it out. If you want to join a really cool community, I'm going to include a whole bunch of design files, maybe a couple seminars. And this is focused on CNC, laser, other woodworking tips, tricks, how to calibrate different machines. But hey, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, do all those things, turn on your notifications. All that stuff really does help. So let's get into some of the dimensions here of what we're trying to get to. So the original flags that I was doing ended up being 12 by 6.5. That was the kind of the standard, flag that I always made. What's nice about those dimensions is everything was very symmetrical. The stripes, each one was 1/2 inch. What I wanted to do is I wanted to cut those in half. So I'm going to make 2 flags, one dimension of 6 by 3.25. That gives me roughly 1/4 inch per stripe. And then I'm going to make a smaller one. I'm going to cut that in half, and we're going to do an 1/8 inch, and that will give me an overall dimension of 3 by about inch 0.625. Everything kind of stays the same. The design file, you just shrink it, you scale it, you do all those things, and it'll still pull that contour in. But I just wanted, I got big clumsy hands. Working with small items it's not easy for me, so I enjoyed cutting all this wood up. But I did get smart, and I went ahead and I put in stop blocks. This way I was able to get a consistent cut for every stripe that I was going to do. So again, I'm just kind of lining everything up. I'm going to cut 1/4 inch stripes and a whole bunch of 1/8 inch stripes from the podoke and maple. And I ended up making enough to make probably about 12 blocks. And within the video, I really only concentrated on just one block for you guys, so you didn't have to, see all this madness. I had sawdust everywhere. My dust collection system just could not keep up. And, a full day of just straight cutting lumber, I created a ton of sawdust. So it was great. But again, putting these stops in saved a ton of time. And I ended up just going, just a little bit over 1/4 inch, a little bit over 1/8 inch. And then I took it in my drum sander, and I really wanted to dial that in and try to get as close as I could, because I wanted those dimensions to stick. And And you'll see it later on, having calipers is probably, especially if you're going to do CNC, that is a absolute must to have. And you can really dial things in. And, a lot of woodworkers, they don't really think about or want to do calipers because, wood moves, it swells, it shrinks, with seasonal humidity levels and all of those things. So again, when I CNC, I try to get as close as I can with dimensions that I really need. And then it shows in the end as far as, placing things in or inlaying things or all of those all of those things really do matter. They add up over time. So what you can't see in this video right now, I had I'd say about 8 sets of these stripes between 1/4 of an inch width to 1/8 of an inch width. When I put all this stuff together and glue everything, I'm probably going to have, 8 months worth of flags. And what's nice working with 1/4 inch or 8/4 material, it's right around just under 2 inches thickness. And when you put those blocks together and you put the faces the correct way, and you can slice flags off like almost like a veneer, you can get an incredible amount of yield out of this. So out of that 2-inch block that I ended up creating, I got really close to right around 5 I could get out of it. But again, having calipers, awesome. I made sure that I was exactly where I wanted to be. And that controlled my entire dimension of that flag for the final product. That way I can inlay it in any kind of project that I want. And at the end of this, I'll showcase a couple different products that I put together this week for some going away gifts. And I'm going to try to include these little mini flags and basically everything that I can inlay any project into. So, So originally I was just going to glue each set up all separate between the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 inch stripes. When I started gluing, I was like, you know what? There's no reason to wait. So I put in spacers that weren't glued, just normal stripes that I already cut. I just sacrificed a couple of them. That way I didn't have to wait, a couple hours for, multiple different things to dry, and it's easier just to hit it all at once. And then I broke those apart, made sure that everything was squared, put it right back into the drum sander, got all the excess glue, and then just got everything back square. And when I broke it apart, I went ahead and I can really now visualize what stripes need to go where, and what I need to actually cut for the final dimensions here. And I can tell you, at the end of the day, after, making multiple different sets of these, everything got really redundant, and it's really easy to get complacent, especially when you're just doing the same operation over and over and over again. I probably spent about 4 hours just cutting material consistently. And, if that block never moved, that always stayed the same for that specific cut for all iterations that I did. And it helped in the end, but again, it can get, very tedious, and it's just repetitive that, accidents can really happen very, very quickly if you're not careful. Now with the multiple glue ups, I was really quite surprised on how seamless these glue seams actually were. Everything was extremely tight, which is great. I didn't put a whole lot of pressure in it because I just didn't want to deform. You know, working with very small material, I mean, it can get really distorted really quick. The easiest thing that I kind of looked at was how to get everything back square, and I was gonna just line everything up and put it in a drum sander, but this was probably the best operation to go and just put it in the table saw, re-square everything, re-clean everything up. Just make sure that you don't take all the material or miscut, and you end up taking a stripe off, and that block is pretty much trashed after that. And I think, later on, I'm probably going to make a jig just specifically to cut these. I didn't like using that push stick. It was, luckily everything was very square to start with. And I didn't have a lot of play or any movement or anything with my movements when I was going through the table saw. But there was one instance where a block got just kind of twisted, and it wasn't flat, and I couldn't get a flat edge, and I ended up just kind of throwing that away because it's not worth throwing something in there and gets binded and it shoots out, or you have a kickback or something like that happens, and it's not good. So doing the math on this, just this instance, since these were the 1/8 inch, these were really small. The amount of yield I can get out of these, I cut these a 1/4 inch thick, and just within that block, I'm more than positive I can get a full 5 flags out of that one block. All right, so I am actually, at this point, I was pretty excited. I wanted to get this thing right into the CNC machine and start putting that contour in. I got really excited about that. But what I was really, pleased was the glue seams. It was very tight, and you know, when you start getting really thin, sometimes that glue, it's just, it gets really brittle, and when you put a router bit on something, it could really blow apart. So I spent a good I would say 2 hours of just doing these flags on the CNC machine. And each one of these cuts were right around 10 minutes. I kept the step over extremely tight, very small. That way I didn't have to go back and try to sand, very small machine marks. It was so small that I really didn't have to do anything to it. So it was just rinse and repeat. The Shapico, I mean, it was spot on. And it was very accurate. I had zero issues. I always never have an issue with any of this, and it's nice to have a reliable capability in your wood shop that it's just a go-to consistently. But the contour looks great. That's exactly what the design file looks like. When you blow this thing up and you scale it bigger, the other flags that I have, that 3D surface, I mean, it's about, depending on how big, it can go all the way down to 2 inches, in depth. And, at the bottom of one of those flags. So it's nice to see that, it is scalable. It can be produced at pretty much any size that you would like. And it really did turn out good. Now, I was kind of nervous doing this operation because, I'm still experimenting with the Xtool. This thing has yet to fail me. It is extremely easy. It took this cut, I think it was like 3 minutes. It was extremely fast. And just set the profile to do the contour and how the laser follows it. And the contour wasn't that deep, so you could probably do this with a regular laser, but it was extremely accurate. The stars looked really good when it came out, and I left that tape on and I just went ahead and painted right over it. Now, I had an issue with my paint. I didn't show it, but I had some old paint that just did not want to stick, and it kind of screwed some things up on it, and I ended up going over it again without the tape, and then I had to sand all the paint off, and it was just kind of a mess. But as far as the laser engraving, it was spot on and perfect, exactly the way I wanted it, and it was very, very crisp, and you can't ask for anything more than that. So, but hey, we're ending into the video. I'll show exactly what this kind of looked like at the end state on this gift that I gave. But hey, I appreciate everyone, especially if you made it to the end. Again, subscribe, like, share, do all those things. It definitely helps, and it keeps me motivated. But over the next month, I have a ton of projects that I'm going to be showcasing, and it's gonna get really cool, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But with that, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video.